Hey, it's me, Fanuel, your host here on Questions of the Day. So, here's a question for you. What does it take, and why is now the moment to launch the first official PhD program in science communication in the US? To answer that, we talked to Dr. Dominique Brossard, professor and department chair in the Department of Life Sciences Communication at the University of Wisconsin-Madison. We caught up with her on the sidelines of the 2025 AAAS conference in Boston, where she shared the inside story behind the formal launch of the PhD program. Spoiler alert, it didn't happen overnight, and it took a strategic split from a decades-old mass communication program and years of groundwork, drawing on faculty expertise, strong demand from students, and an existing research infrastructure. If you're a science communication scholar or practitioner, listen closely to how Dr. Brossard describes some of the student projects, and make sure to check out their website to explore the research coming out their department. There are insights in there you just might want to bring into your own work. And if you're a department chair, dean, or other big decision maker, pay close attention to how this program is structured to support the students, from the customizable training and interdisciplinary advising to how the program is thinking about impact. And get this is just one of the science communication programs that they offer. There's a whole suite. Anyway, there is something special happening in Wisconsin, so let's dig right in. Mapping the ongoing work across the civic science landscape by characterizing the why, what, how, who, when, and where through talking directly with practitioners in academia, government, for-profit, and nonprofit organizations. I'm Fanuel Muindi, and this is Questions of the Day.
Previously on Questions of the Day.
More accepted that social scientists are also scientists, and that they belong as part of this group, and humanities scholars as well. But if you go back 10 years or more, some of those early studies that looked at science and society, they didn't even include the social scientists. They just focused on the physicists and the engineers and the mathematicians and the chemists and so on. And only more recently, it became more like the norm to include all the disciplines. And I've always been intrigued because in my own career, I sort of moved.
Subscribe to access that conversation and many more.
All right, so Dominique, thank you so much for doing this. So your department recently launched a newly revamped science communication PhD program. And I could not wait to get you down here to talk to you here. We're here at the AAAS conference. Tell us, where did this PhD program come from? Because it's not new, it's rehashing of things. Tell us, what's the story behind it?
Well, I'm so happy to ask me to do this, Fanuel, and I'm very excited because I think the setting is perfect for talking about this science communication program. Basically, the Department of Life Sciences Communication and the School of Journalism Mass Communication at UW-Madison have administered for decades one of the oldest mass communications PhD program in the nation. That's also ranked as the best, as far as scholarly thing, broadly construed general communication thing.
Okay.
And those two departments, if you wish, had developed their own identity and have attracted more and more specific type of students that are interested in specific things. With the Department of Life Science Communication clearly attracting young scholars that want to focus at the intersection of science, media, and society broadly construed. People in the journalism school, more traditional journalists, political communication, and so on. So basically, things leading to another. 3 or 4 years ago, there was a review of our program by the graduate school at UW-Madison that suggested for those two programs to split. So this is what we have done. So we are developing our own identity, disconnected from the School of Journalism, who keeps the mass communications. And for us, we keep on doing what we know how to do, which is training young scholars in the science communication, practice and research, and proudly have the first science communication PhD program in the nation and beyond. So hopefully we will be more visible to those that do want to enter that field that's so promising and so needed. And as a matter of fact, when you see the number of sessions at AAAS that tackle this issue, we're like, this is really needed.
Yeah, in fact, you're hosting a session on that. So when you say the research, you're talking about the science of science communication. Is that right?
Yes, exactly. So like when you look at our department, we actually located in a college of agricultural life sciences. So we have very, very strong linkage with departments such as, genetics, microbiology, soil science, environmental sciences, you name it. And a lot of people that come to a master's and a PhD actually come with different scientific disciplines. I'm myself a plant scientist, genetics is my training in another life, and so on and so forth. So, the scholars in our department look at the science of science communication, also risk communication that I do myself, environmental communication, health communication, let's say any type of, places really where science, media, and society interact. And also very heavy research on algorithm and science right now, which is very exciting.
Yeah. So for the deans out there and the department chairs who are listening to you, you've managed to create this PhD program, right? So thinking logistics, how did you do this? Because there's a funding portion of this you have to think about.
Yeah.
The faculty, which you had already, and you've been growing it. Tell us how the mechanics came together really to make this.
So that this is really an interesting question that you ask, because the mechanics is really more administrative than anything else, because we already have everything in place. I joined PhD program, literally in practice was already, our side of it was already a science communication PhD, although we didn't have the name. So we already have the academic advisor, we already have the faculty, we already have all the structure in place to actually support that program. So like the process that we follow was really, administratively speaking, have a proposal to actually, sell to the board of region, because they are the bosses at a public university, that in our own, words, and we were standing alone program, and we could really attract as many students as we have in the past. And as a matter of fact, this year, that's a transition year, because technically the program is launched this fall for the new admissions, but we were in between. We already had, close to 45 applicants, and, with 10% admit, which is what we were expecting in the future. So I think the world is going around that this is the place to be. You want to do science communication? Come to UW-Madison.
I mean, the word is getting around, and that's the key there. You had already started the groundwork way before, right? It's not like you woke up one morning and said, we're going to do this.
That's exactly it. And I think, I'm actually stepping down as chair of my department this end of this year after 11 years. It's time to have a little new blood, but I think this is going to be one of my proud accomplishments, I would say. That I was able over the last few years to attract really, really talented young scholars that are really at the forefront of, science of science communication, Islamic linkage such as you, Fanuel, here, and other people that are interested in civic science and so on. I think this is the philosophy we want to have. So not only at UW, but beyond, continue the networking that's really important that we have forged over the years. And hopefully, have young scholars that continue doing that beyond us.
So you say 45 applicants for this new batch. How many total students do you have right now?
So the thing is that, right now, our PhD with other PhDs in negotiations, admit students, but they guarantee funding for 5 years, right? So we actually will have small cohort of 5 to 6 students per year. And so right now, that's why we have 15 or 16 PhD students with a number of masters as well. So that's what we want, 15 to 20 cohort, a solid cohort where you can have, a good, let's say, lively group of grad students that can be together.
And your website, so now I love your website, by the way.
Thank you. You looked at it.
You have 7 outcomes. And I looked at it because I love looking at these programs. So 7 outcomes on there. And for those who have programs, that's a very good sign. You have 7 outcomes on there. One of them is about formulating ideas, concepts. I mean, the typical PhD training program. So take us to what exactly the students are doing. I mean, there's some core courses they're taking. For how long are they doing that before they go for the qualifying exam?
So this is a very good question, because we have an eclectic type of students. So, you have, let's say, somebody that would have a master in environmental science, they would like to continue with a PhD in science communication. They will need more credit hours than one that comes already, let's say, with the masters of science communication that exists from, let's say, Alda, and so on and so forth. But people have to have 65 credits. So that's quite the number of credits, with the required classes being actually not not very diverse because we have communication theory and science communication, a research method class, and a statistics class. The idea is to have scholars that are trained really in a number of methods. You use the method that's the most applicable to your research program, right? And then you, with your advisor, you really create your own PhD. So, for example, I had a student who was very interested in water-related management issues, chemical spills, and so on, and looked at, social media, community building in Virginia around a big water spill and chemical contamination, took chemistry classes, took water management classes, took communication classes, took sociology classes, took social movement classes to actually form, a course, a program of courses that fit exactly, the type of research you wanted to do. So obviously this is not done by yourself. At the beginning, you start general, and then when you arrive at the program proposal, you actually design this thing, the grad committee gives feedback and so on. Then you take your comprehensive exam, and then you embark in your proposal, your research, and so on. So what's exciting, I think, and this is something that would have excited me, hopefully would have excited you, and like, others, wow, so cool. Is that, you don't come and like told what to do. Obviously, you need the basics, right? But then you can actually build a program that responds to what you want to do, what you think is useful for your own career. And, find the people in your committee, like 5 people, that actually are, able to give you the feedback you need. And so 2 to 3 people from a department and then outsiders to form a cohesive, program. Another student of mine, actually, that's a faculty as well, she did something on nuclear energy and how to communicate visually what waste means and so on and so forth. Very visual communication person. So she had the chair of nuclear engineering department in her committee. So, there's that flexibility of bringing people to actually really bridge, I would say, disciplines. That's what we believe. Look what I put in my little thing here. I'm a scientist of many cultures. And so that's the idea. And I think that's what LSE is about, bringing scientists from many cultures together.
Right. I mean, so is it 2 to 3 years before they take
exactly 2 to 3 years or the comprehensive beyond the masters? We actually ask people to have a master's before coming. If they don't have, let's say, a social science master, we need to we ask them to develop something that actually shows that they can do some research and so on. They have to have an equivalent and so on.
So you haven't had any students complete this program?
Well, we have a lot of students completed what we have before, where their name been PhD in mass communications.
Got it.
And, including some that you might have met before, Sarah Yo, like is, I think you have worked with her before, and so on and so forth. That was nice. But they wear the label mass communications. We actually will communicate to alumni. Obviously, they already know this is happening, and hopefully they're going to put /science communication.
And what has been the response from the community there with this change?
It's from the current student, it's kind of a sense of relief. This is great because there's an identity thing, right? I mean, and honestly, I wish the best to the journalism school, obviously, but mass communications is dead, honestly. I mean, it seems like it's an outdated concept in a way. And I think students really would like to have a diploma that reflects what they're doing, what they aspire to do. So I think there was a very good response overall.
That's good. And then you have students also, we were talking beforehand, that in the other departments who are taking because you guys offer a suite, and I encourage people to go to their website and look at what they offer. It's almost everything. But you've had a lot of like those bench scientists who are coming over to to do minors, right? And so forth. Do you foresee that being a pipeline also of folks that
I mean, that's possible, but Fanuel, I mean, we were so excited when you came to talk to our colloquium, and you had firsthand, you saw that you had those, students from different scientific disciplines. Yes, we do have a PhD minor in science communication. We have a grad certificate in science communication. And I don't know, it would be a pipeline, but certainly it gives people a taste of what it could, be to actually do science communication. And certainly, with the master's, grad certificate, that can be a pipeline. The one that are already in the PhD minor, But we have a lot of students. I had a student in biophysics who ended up doing a minor in science communication, and she told me, "Oh my God, I wish I had known this existed. I think I would have done a different PhD."
The PhD program, right? Yeah.
And I said, "Do a second PhD."
I mean, so do you perceive basically getting an influx, like the demand? You might have like a massive demand for this.
I think we will have, I think, a very, very high demand as we used to have in the past with our mass communication one. But I'm also excited about the minor since you talk about it, because I think those two go hand in hand. We want scholars that do strong research publication in the science of science communication, but we want also scholars that do their own discipline, but understand the intricacy and the complexity of doing this kind of thing. Communicating science seems easy, but as you well know, it's not so easy, and also very hard to do it in a civic way, having productive discussions about it, good conversation, talking across line of difference and so on. So if we can do all these things, produce scholars, having, that little seed in the mind of people that have their own disciplines and so on, I think we're doing our job.
Yeah. I'm curious about the dynamics. Do students get to rotate between different faculty?
I'm so glad you're asking that, because something that's different in our department compared to, let's say, life science or hard science lab, very often, if you are accepted at university, but you find an advisor that has a lab with money, you get in. But that's not how it happens in our department. So basically, I have countless of students that email me all the time saying they want to work with me. I'm very excited they want to work with me. Unfortunately, I don't decide anything. So basically, they have to apply to our program, and a committee, admits them based on the thing, and then assign them a temporary advisor based on their interest. Let's say somebody's interested in working with me, mention me in the letter of purpose, of statement of purpose, and then
that's a tip, by the way. Mention the name anyway, because in the application they probably have to mention a few names. Right?
Exactly. Okay. So they mention a name. So let's say mention me. I may be their temporary advisor. They can stay with me for the course of the thing, or they can do something else. And also they encourage. Let's say they stay with me, but they can actually be hired as a research assistant with another professor, and we encourage them to rotate. Work with different people, learn to work with different people. We also make sure that they all have, the possibility to teach, to have a teaching assistantship or independent teaching in the summer, to be rounded as a scholar, to potentially like participate in grant writing, to do policy work and so on. So basically give them the possibility of like, look, there's different career path. You're going to work with different people. You're going to work in big groups, small groups. So we try to give them the possibility to do that. As a matter of fact, right now, the grad student that work closest to me is not even my advisee. It's like just like one of my advisors working with another professor right now. We rotate, depending on projects.
So coming from the life sciences, I'm just thinking, you got the labs and you got the walls that you're in my lab. It sounds like here it's more fluid.
Exactly.
Okay, students can come in, come out. They're assigned, but it's not like forever. They can change if they wish.
So yes, they can change if they wish, but very often actually people stay with a temporary advisor, but that doesn't mean they cannot work with other people, and we encourage them to do so. And honestly, as someone that that learned the hard way the value of collaboration, and also like the different personalities that you have out there, I think it's very important to learn to work with different people and find those with whom you're the most productive and the safest. And the most able to give what you have the best to give. So it's how it is, right?
Yeah.
So I think you learn that by learning with working with different type of people, right?
You have to collaborate, because that's a big thing.
You have to collaborate. Right. And the thing is like as a philosophy always, LSE, life science communication, we had a philosophy of being group-based research. So you don't write your paper on your own. You will write it with other people. You have junior people, you have other people, and everybody learns from each other in those collaborative settings, which I think really good as far as fostering long-term relationship. We have former students, and we're going to continue with the new program, that tell us that the relationship they're forming grad program makes them, collaborator now. They write grants together.
That's magic, right? And,
yeah.
I mean, tracking all this as well, because in your website you do track your alumni where they are, right? A lot of our faculty members now.
Yeah,
Is
yeah.
that the goal here, that they go into diverse careers or into academia? Is there a sense of what?
You know, I'm so glad that you say that, Fanuel. I mean, I'm actually somebody who has a strong footage in the policy work. I like it. Not everyone would do that. Some other people like to do like obscure academic research, which is good. And other people like to do very applied research, which is good as well. Basically, everything is good as long as you're doing what you think you want to do, what's useful, and makes you happy, right? And makes the world happy. So what we encourage people is really trying to find their own path. As a matter of fact, right now I have one of my former advisees who's, you know, the second in command for energy policy in the state of Wisconsin. She's a politi appointee. That's what she wanted to do, policy work. You know, we have other people that go to consulting, doing big data analysis in science. We have the people that are professors. So literally exploring all the career options. So what we're going to do, we've done in the past, but we're obviously doing it even more now with the new program, is having alumni panel every semester where those alum from different, you know, perspective come to share their path. And so the PhD can lead to so many things.
Right.
And I think very often, and I think this is really a mistake, you know, programs tend to think that the best is academia. The best is the academia for some people, and for others, it's going to be something else.
It depends, right?
It
So if
really
you
depends.
were to draw like a pie chart at different areas, I'm assuming you see mixed colors, right?
Yeah.
Different things that
Yeah.
you're sharing. What would be the top metric? If I can ask it, metric you say that as a program? Okay, if this thing happens, we're doing something right.
You know, this is such a good question. So literally, we want people to find jobs because they need jobs, but we want them at the end of their program to feel well equipped to do the job that they dream of. So if your dream of is to really have an impact in science policy and with a communication angle, if your dream job is really to make, you know, like STEM researchers, you know, understand the importance of civic science, whatever. So like that they are equipped to do their dream job where they feel they can fulfill the best that they have to give. Because I think very often it can be very frustrating for people coming from, you know, academic programs to feel that they are stuck somewhere. And coming from somewhere that has changed career path really a lot, you know, I think it's important to you know, to respond to people's aspirations. So yes, of course, we want to be the best program. Of course, we want to have the best, you know, like, and when you say best, how do you define best, right? The brightest.
Another conversation.
Yes, right. That's another conversation. But I think, you know, it's a win-win. We want the best students. We want to give them the best so they can be the best at what they want to do. So that's the...
And you talk about customization.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
on your website, you really emphasize that you come in and you build a program that's right for you.
And so that's the thing that we have really, over the years, appreciated is that, you know, like, you can really do that on a campus such as Madison because it's a really good campus and you have excellent scholars in a number of disciplines. So you can build your own team in your committee that would help you do that.
It's a beautiful campus too.
Oh, yeah, it is good.
Did visit one time. Okay, so rapid fire questions. I wish we could just keep talking. Are they required to publish before they graduate, the students?
So, you know, the way we do like the dissertation is actually, we actually mirror what's happening in the life sciences, 3 studies that can stand alone, but the answer overarching research questions. So if you look at the typical dissertation, your big intro where you explain what's needed, the studies, and then the conclusion, the concluding chapter, and they're not required to have published, but you know, they're strongly encouraged to at least have conference papers out
or submittable. Right?
Yes, exactly. You know, so exactly. So like the idea is really this is publication level, and most students actually do already have, you know, 1 or 2 papers already under review or at the conference and so on at the time of graduation. The reason why is because it helps them in the job market.
Absolutely.
You know, they show that they know.
In whatever they do.
In whatever. It's like policy, whatever. It shows that, look, I'm a scholar. I know what I'm talking about. Look at this.
That was productive too.
Exactly.
Average time to graduation so far from the previous program and what you hope the new one will be.
Yes, so I think we're hoping that this is going to continue, and like average time I think is 4 years.
4 years.
Yeah, after you pitch your master's, people that come with already like a communication
Right, they're coming in
background,
with a master's.
they can transfer credits and so on. But I think with the guaranteed 5 years of funding, they can really reasonably finish.
And did you hear that? Guaranteed 5 years. Of
We're
funding.
very proud of that. We're very proud of that.
And is that internal money? Is that grant money? I'm just curious.
So it's actually like a mix because as you were asking, rightfully so, we want to give them a portfolio of expertise. So there will be TAs, there will be in grants and so on. So it's a mix of grant money and internal money.
I see. Because faculty do have grants.
Faculty have a grant,
students
and then we have large classes where we need teaching assistants and so on and so forth. So really a portfolio of different activities.
And again, as you mentioned at the beginning, I wish I can go back
coming,
and then
huh?
do that.
Me too.
We would do
I wanna
another
take
one.
it again.
It's like I want to do this. Oh, it might.
See, you were right.
Energy, yes. So you mentioned earlier, there's a lot of science engagement work here being presented. Tell us about your session, because you're hosting a session, high level. What are you guys going to be talking about tomorrow?
So Adam Levin is actually a colleague that has organized a session. Interestingly enough, when he came to give a talk in my department, you know how it goes. You go for dinner, change ideas. That was I love. And so I've been working for a while with the National Academy of Science on a project that's called the Societal Expert Action Network that attempts to provide social science, tools to policymakers that needed it on the ground. So, and was discussing that with Adam. Adam has always been interested in having a productive relationship between scientists and policymakers. So this session will, with another colleague, Elizabeth Day, we will, and with excellent moderator, we will explore that and based on our own practical experience, sharing our, data, but also practical experience on those productive collaboration with policymakers. Obviously, scientists and policymakers have different goals. How can this actually be negotiated in a way that we work together toward a common goal?
Well, I'll be attending that. So.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Dr. Brossard, thank you so much. This is just a snippet. We'll keep chatting. Thank you.
Well, thank you for having me. That's great.